a longtime friend of LeBron James, a secret text before tip-off, a betting ring tied to the mob. In 2025, federal agents arrested former NBA player and coach Damon Jones, accusing him of leaking confidential injury information, including details about LeBron, to a gambling network that also ran rigged high-stakes poker games. Over 30 people charged. Former players, a current player, a head coach, and the biggest star of his generation, pulled into the story by association. Tonight on Foul Play, we break down how this alleged network worked, what prosecutors say Damon Jones did, and what this means for the future of the NBA. Damon Jones wasn't a superstar, but he was in the right locker rooms and knew the right people. From 2005 to 2008, he shared the court with LeBron James in Cleveland during the early Cavaliers years, which were raw, loud, and full of belief. Jones was a role player, a veteran shooter, and by all accounts, LeBron's close friend. They laughed through shoot-around, traveled together, and even trained in the offseason. When LeBron left for Miami in 2010, the friendship didn't fade. And when he returned to Cleveland 4 years later, he helped Jones land a job as his personal shooting coach. For a retired role player with no big coaching contract, that was huge. LeBron had pulled him back into the league's inner circle. Fast forward to Los Angeles. By 2022, Jones was spending time around the Lakers. He wasn't officially listed on the coaching staff, but he was there, helping with drills, hanging around practices, chatting with players and staff. According to federal court filings, prosecutors say that's when things may have started to cross a line. Prosecutors say that on February 9th, 2023, Jones sent a text message to one member of what they now call the betting ring. The text allegedly said, "Get a big bet on Milwaukee tonight before the info's out. LeBron won't play." That night, LeBron sat out. The Lakers lost. And according to investigators, that bettor made thousands of dollars. On the surface, it looks like a simple tip between friends. A retired player passes along a piece of inside info. A gambler places a bet. But to the FBI and the league's integrity partners, that first text was the signal flare. Why? Because LeBron's true status, playing or not playing, wasn't yet public. That kind of information is supposed to be confidential, locked inside team reports and medical files until the league updates the official injury list. If someone close to the team leaks it early, that's not gossip. That's an unfair advantage. The next day, betting regulators flagged the game. The odds had shifted just minutes before tip-off, right after Jones's alleged message. When investigators traced that text back to Jones, they say they didn't just find one message. They found a pattern, and the deeper they looked, the clearer it became. This wasn't about one game, one bet, or one friend helping another. It was the potential start of a coordinated network built around one thing: insider information. In sports, timing is everything, and Damon Jones, prosecutors say, had perfect timing. But that timing would soon threaten his career and drag one of basketball's biggest icons into the biggest gambling story the league has faced in years. Because this wasn't the end of the scandal. It was the beginning. By 2024, according to court records, the operation had grown legs. What started as a single text about a LeBron injury had allegedly turned into a pattern of behavior. Prosecutors claim Jones began passing along tips more frequently, not just about LeBron, but about anyone in the Lakers locker room who might affect the betting line. Sprained ankles, rest nights, restricted minutes. In the modern NBA, all of that matters. Injury information isn't just gossip, it's gold. One message in particular became key evidence. January 15th, 2024. Lakers versus Oklahoma City Thunder. According to filings, Jones allegedly texted that one of the Lakers' best players would play limited minutes. The tip went to co-defendant Eric "Spook" Ernest, who prosecutors identify as a middleman. Ernest passed the info to a professional bettor. That bettor reportedly put down a $100,000 wager against the Lakers. But the information was wrong. The unnamed player played the full game. He scored heavily. The Lakers won. The bet crashed. The bettor lost big. And yet, prosecutors claim Jones still got paid, around $2,500, for the tip, despite it being wrong. That alleged payment would become the first clear financial record, linking him directly to what they now describe as a betting ring. On paper, it looks simple. Information goes out, money comes back. But when federal agents started digging into those payments, they say they found something worse. Behind the text messages and injury tips, they claim there was a second operation running in parallel. Not just NBA bets, a luxury poker network. According to the indictment, this second scheme involved high-stakes games hosted in penthouses and private clubs. From Los Angeles to Miami to the Hamptons. The setup, prosecutors say, was glamorous. Velvet chairs, designer suits, open bars, A-list guests, hedge fund managers, tech investors, occasional celebrities and ex-athletes. But behind the velvet rope, the games were allegedly rigged. Hidden cameras in the room, marked cards, even specialized tech under the tables that could read or reveal card information in real time. Players thought they were winning or losing against luck. Investigators say they never had a chance. Prosecutors argue that both schemes, the insider NBA betting and the rigged poker games, fed the same pipeline of money. Cash flowed in, then washed through shell companies, crypto wallets, and consulting accounts. By late 2024, betting regulators had reportedly started to notice. The same names kept popping up in NBA betting markets and at private poker events in Los Angeles and Miami. The storm was coming. And when the indictments finally dropped, the headlines were loud. NBA coaches and ex-players linked to mob-run betting network. For the league, this was no longer just rumor. It was crisis. To understand how this scandal fits together, you have to understand one thing: timing. In betting, information equals profit. And in a league as big as the NBA, a tiny piece of early information, a sore ankle, a surprise rest day, a changed rotation, can move millions in wagers. Prosecutors say Damon Jones had a steady stream of those tiny pieces. He wasn't officially on the Lakers coaching staff, but he was often around the team. Practices, gyms, sideline conversations. He knew trainers. He heard whispers. And according to court papers, he used that access to gather injury intel before that information became public. The indictment describes him sending that intel into a private chat, a small group tied to professional bettors and intermediaries. Once the message went out, bets were allegedly placed within minutes, sometimes seconds, before the league or sports books adjusted their lines. That's scheme one, insider betting. But what made this story explode was scheme two, the underground poker network with alleged mob connections. Federal prosecutors traced that part of the case back to around 2019. An invitation-only set of high-stakes poker games in private houses, exclusive clubs, and back rooms. Guests, according to the government, included wealthy investors, entertainers, and occasionally, people with sports connections. On the surface, it looked like normal rich people gambling. Underneath, investigators say it was something closer to a machine. Rigged shuffling devices, subtle markings on cards, cameras feeding information to people with special lenses or monitors. Losses, they claim, weren't random. They were engineered. Once the money hit the table, it rarely came back. The alleged victims thought they were just having a bad night. But as the FBI followed the paper trail, they mapped out a loop. Money lost at the rigged tables. Funds moved through offshore accounts, crypto wallets, and consulting businesses. Some of the same people placing those bets were also linked to unusual patterns in NBA prop markets. For years, the two worlds, NBA bets and secret poker games could have looked separate. By 2024, the overlap became impossible to ignore. The same names were reportedly tagged in multiple gambling databases. The same IP addresses, the same payment routes. Investigators realized they weren't just chasing two crimes. They were chasing one ecosystem. At the center of that ecosystem, prosecutors placed Damon Jones, not as the mastermind, but as the bridge. As one FBI source is quoted as saying in court filings, he wasn't the boss, but he was the bridge. And bridges burn fast when the feds start digging. Those leaked texts turned into subpoenas. The subpoenas turned into seized devices. And the seized devices turned into arrests. For the NBA, the scandal had just gone from a rumor to an integrity test on a global stage. When the indictments finally hit the public record, they landed like thunder. Roughly 30 people charged, including 2 former NBA players, 1 current player, and a sitting head coach. Prosecutors say a web of mob-linked financiers was behind them. Sports and news outlets exploded with headlines like NBA rocked by gambling scandal and mob-linked poker games tied to NBA insider. The public reaction was instant and brutal, especially for fans who had already lived through the Tim Donaghy referee scandal. Suddenly, they had something new and bigger to chew on. But here's what the filings and major outlets all emphasize. LeBron James is not charged with any crime. In the federal documents, LeBron appears only as the subject of leaked injury information. There's no accusation that he placed bets, fixed games, or knowingly participated in any scheme. No charges, no evidence presented in court that he profited, and no proof of wrongdoing. Still, his name dominated the headlines because the man now at the center of the case, Damon Jones, had been his longtime friend, teammate, and at one point, personal shooting coach. In the court of public opinion, proximity often feels like guilt. Inside the league office, the tone was panic mixed with control. Commissioner Adam Silver released a statement calling the allegations deeply troubling and corrosive to the foundation of competition. Behind closed doors, league officials reportedly ordered a full internal review. Who had access to player health data? How quickly did that information move from trainers to betting markets? And how many friends of players were sitting just close enough to hear something valuable? Meanwhile, Damon Jones appeared in court and was released on bond, reportedly around $200,000. He entered a not guilty plea, with his lawyers insisting he was being set up as a scapegoat for a much larger operation. Another big name appeared in the papers, Chauncey Billups, head coach of the Portland Trail Blazers, facing charges tied to the alleged poker ring, not NBA game fixing itself. Suddenly, this wasn't just about Damon and a few gamblers. It was reaching into locker rooms, front offices, and luxury suites. What shocked fans most wasn't that gambling existed. As everyone knows, sports and betting are tightly connected now. It was the sense of betrayal. People want to believe in the purity of the court, that the games are real, the injuries are real, the outcomes are real. Now they had to wonder, were those injuries handled by doctors or by odds? Were those minutes limits about health or about bets? The NBA has survived scandals before, from referee controversies to locker room drama. But this one cut right at its core: integrity. Even if no current superstars were charged, the damage to trust was real. And as the story spread, the league realized it wasn't just fighting a crime story. It was fighting for its reputation. In early November 2025, a federal courtroom in Manhattan became the stage for a significant legal battle. Former NBA player Damon Jones stood beside his lawyers and entered a plea of not guilty. His defense team portrays him as a man caught in the middle, offering advice to friends, not orchestrating an illegal gambling ring. Prosecutors, however, present a different picture, citing text messages, betting slips, and money transfers. These documents, they argue, link Jones directly to insider information and illegal wagering. The government's narrative points to casual corruption, where daily conversations gradually escalated from poor judgment to criminal acts. Jones's attorneys maintain he never knowingly accepted gambling money. Yet, investigators have uncovered records of tens of thousands of dollars in unexplained payments. These funds flowed into accounts labeled neutrally, such as consulting, raising further questions. Jones's next major court date is set for early 2026, with a potential sentence of up to a decade in prison if convicted. Amidst this scandal, the NBA is actively working to demonstrate its commitment to learning and reform. League officials have announced what they term the largest integrity reform push in NBA history. This includes tighter controls on access to medical and injury data. They are also implementing encrypted internal systems for player health information. Background checks and monitoring for certain associates and staff are now in place. Furthermore, partnerships with betting integrity firms aim to flag suspicious line movements in real time. On paper, these measures appear to be a serious and comprehensive response. However, the damage to public perception and belief in the game's integrity has already been done. LeBron James has kept his public comments minimal, stating, "I've never bet on basketball, and I never will." Despite this, his name frequently appears in article titles and thumbnails. This is not due to accusations of betting, but because he sits at the intersection of friendship, fame, and scandal. For fans, this situation leaves a lasting bruise on their trust. The story began with a friendship, a star helping a former teammate find work after retirement. It evolved into a complex case involving texts, wiretaps, and alleged mob ties. Now, the NBA faces an uncomfortable question. What remains if fans lose faith in what they see? If people begin to suspect that injuries, rotations, or results are influenced by quiet betting networks, the game itself starts to wobble. The court's verdict is still pending. These are currently charges and allegations. They remain unproven until established beyond a reasonable doubt. However, the warning is undeniably clear. Integrity is not merely a rule in a book. It is, in fact, the very foundation that keeps the sport alive.
Breaking news in a Sports Center, former NBA player and coach Damon Jones pled not guilty to wire fraud and money laundering charges in a Brooklyn court today after being arrested in the FBI gambling sting last month. He was released on a $200,000 bond. He is accused of providing privileged NBA information for bets and for taking part in rigged poker games.
You've been covering the Portland side of this story over the last couple of days. What's it been like for the Trailblazers in their situation?
Yeah, I flew up there for their first game, which was on Friday. They had played the Warriors on the second night of a back-to-back, and it sat with me. When you walk in the locker room, you see Chauncey Billups' office, and the door is closed, and nobody's been in there. And when they had a team meeting, the first day that it happened, he gets arrested Thursday after the first game. The players come in, they're supposed to have a practice, but nobody knows what to say or do. Nobody has any information other than what they've read online. And players were told, you shouldn't reach out to him. You can't call him right now. And that's really hard because these guys all have a very close relationship with Chauncey Billups. I was talking to Jerry McGrant last night in Los Angeles, and he says, this is a guy I used to talk to 2-3 times a week, maybe 4 or 5 times a week, just about everything he was going through. Matisse Thybulle was saying how important Chauncey was to his career because he believed in me when other people didn't. And so you go from having a guy that's that involved in your life to literally not being able to contact him. And I think that's what's hard for this young team, which a lot was expected of coming into this.
So, what do you think? Is this a few people getting greedy with inside information, or the tip of something bigger inside modern sports? Do you believe the league's new integrity measures will actually work? Or is this just the start of more scandals to come? Let me know in the comments. What shocks you most in this case? The injury leaks, the poker tech, the mob connections, or the fact it reached all the way to LeBron's circle without him being accused of anything? If you found this breakdown useful, hit like, subscribe to Foul Play, and share this video with someone who still believes all games are clean. And if you want to dig deeper, share sources, read filings, or suggest future cases, join the community over on Reddit at r/foulplaysportsyt. That's where we track these stories between episodes. This is Foul Play, and we'll be back with the next investigation soon.